Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I'm Dennis Adegunloye. The headlines. African Development Bank to support Nigeria with a $500 million investment in digital and creative enterprises. Senate committee tasks Ministry of Works and Housing to sustain efforts to bridge infrastructural gap. Plus, island nation of Tonga records first case of COVID-19 as travelers from New Zealand test positive. The African Development Bank is to support Nigeria with investments in the country's digital and creative enterprises, which it refers to as iDice, a $500 million investment program to be co-financed with several partners. President of the bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, affirmed this commitment when he delivered a lecture at the NECI PR Roundtable on social media, national security and social change, bridging the gap for development in Africa, held in Lagos. Justin Bemunyi reports.
Africa has a task of titanic proportions on our hands. That's because an undeveloped, underemployed generation of young men and women is probably the nation's greatest security risk, and not the use of social media per se. Opinions about the merits or demerits of social media will be debated for ages to come. For now, it suffices to say.
The AFDB president sees the social media as nothing short of a revolution and a medium that will equally play a definitive role in Africa's transformation and economic evolution. He opines that to reap the benefits of this revolution, countries including Nigeria must work on the analog complement by strengthening regulations that ensure competition among businesses, by adapting workers' skills to the demands of the new economy, and by also holding institutions accountable. The bank, he says, is optimistic and is working to create 25 million new jobs by 2025. He confirmed that the bank is investing heavily in quality infrastructure to transform the backbone of Africa's technological revolution and is therefore preparing investments in Nigeria's digital and creative enterprises, otherwise known as iDice.
iDice will promote entrepreneurship and innovation in the digital technology and creative spaces. It will help to create sustainable jobs and make Nigeria a global powerhouse in these industries. This program will help to boost innovation, especially in tech-enabled businesses and e-commerce space, where new and successful ventures are being launched in Nigeria.
The quest now is to close the digital divide, where every Nigerian should have reliable and affordable internet access. And the access, the AFDB boss says, will expand digital financial inclusion and wider use of social media platforms that will continue to influence politics, connect people, and shape the future. He advocates fully leveraging the power of technology, social media, and communication platforms, which will create a better, more inclusive, and prosperous Nigeria. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Let's go to the United Kingdom now, where the University of Aberdeen has handed over a Benin bronze artifact to Nigeria after being preserved in its museum for over a decade. The Benin Crown Prince and Director General, National Commission for Museums and Monuments, together with the Nigerian High Commissioner to the UK, received the artifact in a brief ceremony. Hawa Yusuf Ntua reports.
There are about 900 objects from the historic Kingdom of Benin in various British museums' collection. Because of the vast number of Benin bronzes in the British collection, it has repeatedly been the subject of protest from activists, scholars and artists who claim that the institution owns stolen properties. However, recently a significant history is being made by returning some of the artifacts to Nigeria, some of them from Jesus College in Cambridge and the University of Aberdeen in Scotland. The Crown Prince of the Benin Kingdom, Prince Irediua, and the Director General of the Nigerian National Commission for Museums and Monuments collected the bronzes from the university representatives.
So the repatriation of these ones, it means a lot, naturally. The looting and the cutting away of artworks, bronze works, and religious works from Benin in 1897 was the height of injustice.
The Benin bronzes that are coming are expected to be part of the artifacts that are going to be displayed in new museums.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian High Commissioner to the UK, Ambassador Ishola Tunji Sharafa, spoke on the ambitious plan to ensure that the artifacts are gradually returning to Nigeria.
We at the High Commission will collect these bronze artifacts, then send it to Nigeria through the necessary diplomatic channel.
Benin bronzes in the UK are worth £10 million sterling. From Aberdeen, Scotland, Hawaii Yusuf Funtua, NTA News.
The ECOWAS mission is urging the Guinean socio-political stakeholders to work together during this transition period to ensure a successful process in the West African nation as it requests for the timetable of the planned actions. President of the ECOWAS Commission, Jean-Claude Cassibrou, who conducted a 3-day mission to the country, pursuant to the decisions of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, was received in audience by the President of the Republic, Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, and also held consultations with members of the government. The mission reiterated the organization's commitment to accompany the Republic of Guinea towards a successful transition and called on the multilateral and bilateral partners to support the transition process in Guinea. It commended the important decisions taken by the transition authorities, notably the adoption of the Transition Charter, the appointment of a civilian prime minister, and the ongoing formation of a broad-based government, while noting that the National Council of the Transition will soon be established. The mission encouraged the transitional authorities to initiate necessary processes with a view to ensuring the return to normal constitutional order consistent with the provisions of the ECOWAS Supplementary Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. To this end, the ECOWAS mission reiterated its commitment to providing any assistance, particularly in the areas of constitutional reforms, support to the electoral process, and completion of the electoral register. Sudanese citizens hold nationwide protests against military coup as Tonga records first coronavirus case since the pandemic began. Let's now join Adebola Brooklyn Sunday from these and more on Global Update.
The Arab League said it was concerned about a rapid deterioration of Lebanese Gulf relations after critical comments from a Lebanese minister about the Saudi-led military intervention in Yemen. This development followed the kingdom's banning of all imports from Lebanon and giving the Lebanese ambassador 48 hours to leave after it banned its citizens from traveling to Lebanon and recalled its ambassador. Meanwhile, some residents in Sudan have agreed to take to the streets in demand for the restoration of a civilian government and to put the country back on the path to democracy, as well as the release of detainees by the military. And the island nation of Tonga has reported its first ever case of COVID-19 after a traveler from New Zealand tested positive. New Zealand health officials say the traveler was fully vaccinated and returned a negative test before flying. Tonga is among the few remaining nations in the world that have avoided outbreaks of the virus. And as at 7 p.m. Nigerian time, the cumulative figure of positive cases of coronavirus globally on the COVID-19 dashboard of World Health Organization now stands at 247,009,710, out of which the Nigeria Center for Disease Control confirmed 211,798 cases. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
In Morocco, the management of the bus station and its partners is concerned about the effective implementation of the decision to oblige the vaccination to grow through the entrances to stations and buses. The surveillance process includes follow-ups accompanied by instructions and advice explaining the importance of obtaining a passport. Local authorities have been working to implement the decision to impose a vaccination passport on travellers going so that only those vaccinated are allowed entry. The control of the vaccine pass in buses was taken in accordance with directives of the government of Morocco. Let's go to the National Assembly now, where the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has defended the 2022 budget proposal of 450 billion naira before the Senate Committee on Works. The mandate given to the ministry by the committee is to sustain concerted efforts to bridge the infrastructural gap in the nation. Dayo Ogunshola reports.
It was one of the major tasks of the day for the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, as he made his way into the Senate hearing room. Chairman of the committee set the tone for the robust engagement.
I also want to commend the Honourable Minister for the projects completed so far and for ensuring that we have, to some extent, improved on the motorable road networks in the 6 geopolitical zones.
The minister commenced his defense with an appraisal of the current fiscal year, laying emphasis on the key objectives of the new proposal.
Some of it, in order to support business, you have roads that target places where large farms exist. You also have roads that evacuate ports and roads that connect international borders.
The lawmakers had words of commendation for the minister.
Oweto Bridge is one of the best kept secrets of the achievement of this ministry.
Regarding the second Niger bridge, I visited there, and I would like to commend you and thank the federal government for showing commitment to complete that project.
The Katsina-Ala Bridge, also to thank you that the bridge itself has been completed, the rehabilitation, but the approach to the bridge is impossible to pass on it.
The hardship that our people go through on that Shagamu-Gijo road is unimaginable. Please help look into that.
Similarly, the Director General, Energy Commission of Nigeria, led his team to appear before the Senate Committee on Science and Technology to defend the agency's 2022 budget proposal. From the National Assembly, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
The Buhari Media Organization, BMO, has applauded the federal government's initiative to rehabilitate over 3,000 kilometers of roads through the Road Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme. The media group, in a statement, says the initiative will encourage companies to embark on reconstruction of major federal roads in exchange for relief on their yearly income tax. President Muhammadu Buhari in 2019 signed Executive Order 7, which allows private investment in road infrastructure. The main objective, as stated by BMO, is to accelerate road infrastructure development for balanced economic growth in Nigeria by granting approval to private sector entities to construct and refurbish roads across the country in exchange for tax credits, which could then be applied against income tax payable. BMO also noted that despite the fact that the policy was enunciated under the former administration, it was truncated due to a lack of political will until President Buhari came into office. In other news, the Federal Road Safety Corps has warned the motoring public to desist from patronizing unauthorized vendors when processing and obtaining vehicle number plates. In a statement signed by the Corps Public Education Officer, BC Kazim, the warning is coming following reliable intelligence from the ongoing nationwide clampdown on the rising cases of unauthorized number plates in circulation. The special operation has so far revealed that a number of the motoring public are completely ignorant of the implications of using unauthorized number plates for vehicle registration and identification processes. Pursuant to the primary role played by the Federal Road Safety Corps in advancing national security through rigorous intelligence gathering linked to its National Vehicle Identification Scheme, among others, the Corps Marshal, Dr. Bubuye Oyeyemi, has warned the motoring public to desist from patronizing unauthorized vendors. The Corps notes that all number plates produced by the Federal Road Safety Corps can only be obtained by vehicle owners from the motoring licensing authorities in the various states and the Federal Capital Territory. You're watching the news on NTA International. We'll take a short break now. More stories when we return. Do stay with us.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. App for iOS or Android, Intelsat 901 degree east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Thanks for remaining with us. Now, amidst heightened insecurity in the southeast and the forthcoming Anambra state governorship election, the Department of State Services has advised the media to apply restraint and avoid sensationalizing news. A statement by the DSS spokesperson, Dr. Peter Afunanya. The service notes that some media handlers give unnecessary attention and coverage to the activities of bandits, terrorists and secessionists. This, the service says, is condemnable given that these elements thrive on undeserved publicity from media patronage. The service, however, assures that it will continue to collaborate with relevant stakeholders to ensure not only a hitch-free electoral exercise, but also a conducive environment for citizens to pursue their legitimate businesses in and outside the state. Now, to effectively communicate, especially with those at the grassroots, the use of indigenous language in broadcasting is a must. This came to the fore at a roundtable on the translation of indigenous languages in investigative and data-driven journalism in Nigeria. Ramatu Abdullahi reports.
Buhari Awalu is one of the oldest news presenters in Hausa language in Nigeria. He is attending the roundtable in order to ensure a generational transfer in indigenous language broadcasting.
There are so many campaigns, whether individuals or government campaign going on, and the response of the society sometimes is not as good as we want. It is simply because we don't speak the language of the people. People want you to speak their language. They feel you are part of them, and they appreciate, and they are going to respond positively.
This convergence of media chief executives and academia in mass communication is to enhance the incorporation of local languages in the mass media.
It is important for us, gentlemen and ladies, to Africanize our curriculum.
How are we going to succeed in communicating if we cannot reach the average person?
Another area of focus is the development of a robust curriculum that will accommodate all Nigerian languages.
The professionals we are going to train will understand the linkage that exists between our local languages and communication, particularly in the broadcast sector. Secondly, to ensure that the quality of translations in our local languages are standardized, improved, to ensure that people get the real meaning of messages.
For a long time, the NTA has provided different platforms where indigenous languages are used, not only in our news, adverts, and even programming. And then at some point, the NTA felt the need to even establish stations to address such, needs.
The project, sponsored by the MacArthur Foundation, is aimed at promoting effective communication using indigenous languages among the citizenry. The coming together of Buhari Awalu and others at the roundtable will no doubt bring positive impact in the media industry. In Kano, Ramatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Nigeria's ICT Development Index shows that there is a grossly inadequate ICT infrastructure, poor ICT institutional support in MDAs, broadband connectivity and slow internet. Panelists and other speakers at the Nigerian Prize for Leadership National Leadership Dialogue Series say for Nigeria to make the best out of the digital ecosystem, identified challenges must be addressed. Haman Jabani reports that this edition of the dialogue with the theme Reworking the Economy from Opportunities to Wealth Creation through Digital Ecosystems has 42 talking points.
Information and communication technology, ICT, is widely used across various industries, from marketing to telecom to education. Global ICT spending is expected to surge up to over $6 trillion by 2022. Nigeria is Africa's largest market, with 82% of the continent's telecom subscribers and a CAGR of 4.6%, 76 million broadband subscribers, 40% internet penetration, and 187 million line in voice segment with 97.9 term density. However, panelists at this dialogue series of the Nigerian Prize for Leadership believe that Nigeria is not close to it in benefiting the maximum from the ICT war.
ICT reduces inefficiencies in government, promotes transparency and legitimacy in governance.
It is transforming both individuals, organizations, nations who had nothing to become so much in a very short time.
This reworking process can only take place if we are politically stable, if we have social services that can support it, and if we engage meaningfully in global digital ecosystem.
We have a cheaper cost of labor. What we do not have, unfortunately, is the most important part of attracting those jobs, which is the skills.
The ecosystem is decentralized and at the same time it's distributed. So you really just need very little and then you skill up.
They say 10% increase in mobile phone subscribers and internet penetration is associated with a 0.8% increase in economic growth, and Nigeria is generating more money from remittance than what is getting from foreign direct investment. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
The Federal High Court in Lagos has granted an application for the interim attachment of a vessel MV Chayaninari by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA. The vessel was used to import 32.9 kilograms of cocaine into Nigeria through the Apapa seaport in Lagos. Apart from the attachment order, the court also granted the agency's request to detain the master of the ship, Tanahan Krilek, 21 foreign crew members and 7 Nigerians in connection with the seized substance. The Anti-Narcotic Agency had on October 13th, 2021, intercepted the ship at the Apapa seaport following intelligence from international partners and security forces, which led to the recovery of the illicit substance. The report on further investigation is expected on the 25th of November 2021, when the case will be heard. Next is a sports update with Olumide Eguntola.
It's been a learning process for Nigeria's men rugby team, the Black Stallions, at the ongoing Safari Sevens Invitational Tournament in Nairobi, Kenya. The Nigerian side, which is attempting to bounce back on the international scene, lost 3 matches played so far. The team lost 0-60 to their Kenya counterparts, 0-40 to Zimbabwe's Sevens Academy, and 7-67 to the German team.
Though we lost out in the championship race, we are in. We are playing for the ranking to ensure that which will really help us to get the ban that is on the neck of the country to be lifted by the African and the world bodies.
And in football, the Shooting Stars of Ibadan Saturday lost the final match of the Taiwo Ogunjobi Gold Cup 0-4 to Remo Stars. The preseason tournament was organized in honor of late Nigerian Football Association Secretary General Taiwo Ogunjobi. From the international scene, quarter-final fixtures of the Carabao Cup shows that West Ham takes on Tottenham, Chelsea hosts Brentford, Sunderland tackles Arsenal, while Liverpool will welcome Leicester City. In the English Premier League, results of matches decided Saturday include a 2-2 draw between Liverpool and Brighton and Hove Albion. Manchester City lost 0-2 to Crystal Palace, while Chelsea humbled Newcastle United with 3 unreplied goals, among other results. With Sports Update, Olumide Eguntola, NTA News.
Let's now get a check on Sunday's weather prospects. Well, that concludes the news on NTA International at this time. Do remember, the fight against rape and rapists continues. Do join the NTA in this campaign and be a star. I'm Dennis at Digundoye. Thanks for your time.